Yeah, Walleyes For Tomorrow has had a fairly aggressive program on both the Fox and the Wolf River, doing what we call bank cuts. Um, the marshes where walleye spawn in the spring are flooded by virtue of the rivers rising because of spring melt. And as the water comes into a marsh, if it floods from the bottom end and floods the marsh, a female walleye won't go into a marsh that's back flooded because there's no active water flow. So what Walleyes For Tomorrow has done, we've done 27 projects like this on the Fox, on the Wolf, and 26 on the Fox. We take a laser level and we shoot the elevation of the marsh on the dry side of the riverbank, and then we hire contractors and we dig through the river bank. These are typically dredge banks along the sides of the river, and we make a cut. Typically our cuts are 40 feet wide on the upper end of the marsh, and what this does is that as the river starts to rise in the spring, water will flow into these typically dry marshes, because most of these are not wet marshes, they're seasonally wet marshes, and water flows earlier into the marshes, and what that does is it induces the females to come into the marshes sooner, and they'll deposit their eggs, and then as the eggs take maybe 20 days to hatch, depending upon water temperature. But then as the river is falling, because we've now given an opening in the upper end of the marsh, the marsh will have active water flow for a longer period of time, and it will wash the spawn fry out of the marsh. What most people don't know is, or many people don't know, is walleye larvae, when they hatch out of the egg, have a yolk sac attached to their stomach, and they're negatively buoyant. So they sink to the bottom, and over the next 24 to 36 hours, they absorb this yolk sac, and they also develop into a swimmable fish, if you will. They get fins. Their tail fin opens up so they can move horizontally in the water, and as this happens, then they can be washed out of the marshes and into the river, where there is a source of zooplankton and other forage species for them to live on. If they get trapped in the marshes, they all die, because there's not that kind of zooplankton population that enables as many fish as are typically spawned in a marsh to forage on and survive.